It's a beautiful day in Leapers Fork, Tennessee. We're going to enjoy beautiful gardens of historical daylilies, and along the way, we're going to find wonderful punctuations of garden art. We're in the garden of Will Colthorpe today, and you know what? He calls himself a gardener.
I am a gardener.
Well, I call you a gardener extraordinaire. 7 years into this garden, take us on a beautiful tour.
Okay, we'll start. First of all, welcome, Annette.
Thank you.
Always glad to have visitors. This is a daylily garden also, so we are always open the month of June. It's a display garden. This is one of the perennial borders. We've got some baptisia, we've got some daylilies.
Okay, let's go walk amongst them.
Okay, and we've got a pot there that I've put some garden art in. I like my garden art. Gotta have that.
That's a fabulous dragonfly.
I really appreciate that. I've enjoyed that piece.
And you know, right here, what I see in your garden is that you punctuate along the way with some colors that really pop. And the blue is one of them, and you also have used maroon, and so it's just so wonderful. And when I stand here, maybe not what the camera sees, but how you have designed and laid out your gardens with curves, and then put in the pops of color, whether it be with plants or garden art. It's a great accomplishment.
Well, thank you. What I've tried to do is make the beds wider. I have always tended to make them too narrow, and you get the full effect when you have the wider bed with the swaths of color, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I repeat color. I do the blue here, the blue is repeated again there, and I do my contrasting colors also.
Yeah, and see even the way you've used your Japanese maple here, and then you've taken that color over here with this beautiful spike plant in the middle of this. So it moves the eye. Lots of things can move our eyes in the garden.
And I have my favorite colors, the purples, the maroons, and then I punctuate with yellows.
Okay.
White's always a good color to throw in to sort of diffuse if it's too bold a color mix.
Well, let's focus on some of these plants that you're achieving this color with. Like, for instance, you've used this beautiful gold daylily here.
Right, and that's actually an older daylily. It's labeled, it's a part of the Chicago series that was popular back in the 70s.
Right, and I like the way you've repeated again another plant over here that mirrors this, that gives balance, doesn't it?
Right.
And then, of course, you can't say too much about the basketball over here.
There is nothing can compete with the hydrangea.
Incredible.
Incredible. I think it's a type of arborescens, isn't it?
It is, smooth leaf.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And then you've also got the red over here of the
Crocosmia, Lucifer.
Exactly. Why did they name something so beautiful?
I don't know, but that is a bright red. That is a very bright red for the garden.
As a daylily enthusiast, Will, you go way back to categorize the historical aspect, please, of the HEMEROCALLIS.
Okay, the American HEMEROCALLIS Society has a display garden status that is pre-1980. Any cultivar that was registered pre-1980 is considered a historical.
Yes.
Now, this garden is a designated historical display garden by AHS.
Okay.
And I've tried to stick to anything prior to 1960 because it makes me feel younger.
Well, that's a good idea. Well, tell me this, where do you locate these?
Well, of course, I belong to the AHS and the local daylily club, but if you Google some of these cultivar names, you can find them. And there's a network of folks that really have an interest in historic cultivars.
Okay, now then, I know they're hybridizers, and you do have this garden arranged according to the hybridizers, according to some of the older varieties and species.
Right, and what I've tried to do is tell a story with this garden, because in the back corner is the collection of species. That's where everything started.
Right.
They came from the Orient.
All of these came from...
That's right, and then this bed over here, they date back to 1893, 1905, 1910, and that's the first signs of the hybridizing of the species. I am very partial to the Virginia Peck cultivars.
Okay, that's
she and her husband were English professors at MTSU, and they started hybridizing tetraploids, which refers to the chromosome count. back in the 70s, and she has some of the, to me, some of the hardiest and most vigorous
Like,
cultivars
what would
out
this
there.
variety be right here?
That would be a tetraploid. This one is white pansy, and she registered that in 1987.
Yes.
But all of her colors, though, are so vibrant, they just really pop out of the garden, and they're vigorous
I can see
plants.
that. Look at the yellow.
And they're tall.
I like the size of the blooms, too.
She's got some wonderful stuff, and you'll see Virginia Peck's cultivars in Tennessee probably more than anywhere else. This is a Virginia Peck cultivar called Smoking Gun. She registered it back in 1987. But it's from this cultivar that many of the really dark black burgundy newer registrations have come from. And this is one of my favorites.
Well, and you know, when I look at that, it glistens. I don't see any spotting, but I guess that can come with the elements.
It can come. Now, lots of daylily enthusiasts will spray for thrips in the spring. I don't spray, but that's where a lot of your spotting comes from. They get into bloom back in March, and if you spray 2 or 3 times in the month of March, you can avoid spotting. This part of the garden is devoted to species, and it's actually from this group of species that all these other daylilies have come from. I like them because they're fragrant, they're nocturnal, they're tall, and look at the branching. And this is my hosta collection. I've just started collecting miniatures. I've got some in these hypertufa pots that I made myself about 25 or 30 years ago. They're still in one piece. And this is a new collection that I've just started to add to the daylily garden.
Well, you've done it well. Beautiful.
Thank you. Here's another piece of art that I like that I got several years ago. I call it the Garden Bell. It weighs a ton. It took my front end loader of the tractor to get it in here, but it has what I consider a very pleasant sound. It'd be nice if someone could ring that at the end of each garden day.
I think I need interpretation, Will.
Well, I think every person can have his own interpretation on this. This one is called Pinnacle Bird. It's by an artist, Tim Price, I believe. He's out of Clarksville. I bought this several years ago.
Really?
And I think it fits this spot just perfectly.
Well, Will, this is a wonderful combination of lots of things I used to see on the farm. And it came up as a giraffe.
It did come up as a giraffe. It's by an artist, Major Hall, another purchase at the local craft fair during the month of May. And this, when I put a picture of this giraffe on Facebook, it probably gets more comments than anything. Everyone likes what I call April the giraffe.
Yes, and we know, wow, that was fun to follow, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, a wonderful plow point. This right here is a half of a bed spring, probably. Even got a bicycle chain for its tail.
Well, I wonder what that was, and I'm not sure what this is either.
I don't know, but
This looks like a fixture of a fence. Yes.
Correct or not. I don't care if it might be blowing up a storm, Will. We just got to walk down this path. And the daylily in here are such beautiful specimens. And you've actually, can you give me the direction of how these are planted? Is this north, south, east, west?
That would be south.
Okay, so they are kind of north, but you see how they are actually, sometimes daylily will reach for light, but these seem to all be growing upright.
Right, and they are, and the westerly direction is over to our left, so that's probably why you see some of them pointing in that direction. This was the first bed we put in when we moved here, and many of these are the newer cultivars that we've collected that when we buy on shopping trips when we go to these garden tours.
I'm about to dive into this one.
My Sunny Valentine, that is a nice one.
Isn't that beautiful? So, Will, this is what you do when you buy 18 acres.
Well, sometimes you end up with a riding rink, and we didn't have any horses, so we looked at it and decided we're going to turn this into daylily gardens. So we are probably the only people in Leapers Fork that have a daylily garden in a riding rink. Welcome to the Golden Nugget Arena.
Okay, and you know underneath it you probably had some pretty good soils. Well, you know, one of the advantages of having this vast properties, you are afforded the ability to buy plants, put them where they can have all the room they need, and they're not restricted in any way.
And you're only limited by your energy level.
And I'm just so sorry the rain is starting to fall, but it doesn't put a damper on anything that we've seen and all the work that's gone into this and the knowledge that you have, and just to know that you can come up always with new and fresh ideas. At the end of the day, and the end of the seasons, you have other things of beauty in your garden with your art. And I just want to tell you, raindrops are falling on my head.
And thank you, Annette. Thank you, Annette, for coming.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.